Welcome to this Business Central launch event session, What's New in Server and Database. This is the fourth session in this series. And in this session, we're going to talk about reporting capabilities. The first thing is data analysis on queries.
Yes, the query object has been there for 10 years, and it's time that it gets a bit more prominence. So now you've always been able to open the query URL. Now it has the new analysis view attached, and you can also run it directly in the UI because we now have support for the run object. And it means that you can add it to pages, and in this case, an item hero query, and then it'll show up as an action you can invoke, which will open a page showing the result of the query. And from there, you can do all the nice things that you can do in analysis views with grouping and pivoting and stuff like that. Excellent new addition.
Can we talk a little bit about under the hood here?
Yeah.
So imagine, you can see this screenshot here with the UI on a query, right? This means the AL runtime is able to apparently run queries. And also, if you think of it, pivot and filter on queries, which means that we can actually, in the AL runtime, not in AL API, but just below that, we can do dynamic query capabilities.
Yes, and now it will be covered more in detail in another session. Another thing we've added is the ability to handle large amounts of data. The way we do these queries is that each drill down is a query by itself, so that you can now do the sum of millions of records in the general ledger entry and do drill down using server-side analysis views, which now also works on queries.
So if you listen closely here, there's something interesting going on in the AL runtime, and we won't talk any more about that.
This is not the AL, no.
This is not the session you're thinking of.
So, for Excel layouts, the Excel layouts feature did not really handle parent-child overview detail types very well because it was following the logic of RDL reports where the data set was always a square data set. Now we've made a change so that if you have multiple root data items, then the data for these can now be represented in each their sheet, which gives you a much more condensed view. If you look at the one to the left, you will actually see that the real data is down along the diagonal line, and the rest was filled out with other values, basically the null values, to make it a square data set, making the handling of this in Excel code quite cumbersome. But if you set the Excel layout multiple data sheets to true, then a sheet will be generated with the data item names instead of just having one square data set.
Exactly. Now, if you think about that inside Excel and maybe use some of the more modern tools in Excel, modern here meaning 10 years old, you have basically two interesting modeling tool inside Excel. You have Power Query, which is a way to modify data, to transform data. It's actually a small ETL language in itself. And then you have Power Pivot, which is a modeling tool inside Excel to define relationships between tables. And this new feature you can use both of these Excel features to really make a compelling data model for your Excel layouts that allows you to do crazy things, I would say. Not crazy.
We like crazy.
Great things. So we are really looking forward to seeing how will this impact your Excel skills. Maybe you need to up them a little bit and learn about these new or other ways of modeling data in Excel, which, by the way, are the same engine as Power BI. So the new property on reports is called Excel Layout Multiple Data Sheets, available in version 23. If you set it to true, you get these new multiple data sheets in your Excel layouts when they're being rendered.
And if you set this to something that does not use an Excel layout, it actually has no effect. But we've found that it works a lot better if you target your report to the type of layout you want, whether it's RDL, Word, or Excel. So this is relevant for the reports that you're targeting to be consumed in Excel.
While we were here, we also worked on making teaching tips and help links available both on queries and report request pages. The latter, it was actually already there. We just never talked about it and documented it. So now it's there. Please help your users understand the intent of reports and queries and give them some proper help links, because a report and or a query is just as useful or a first-class citizen as normal functionality. So why shouldn't we also help the users out here? This is how it looks, a teaching tip on a request page. And by the way, if you use the context-sensitive help page, you can make dedicated help links for your reports. And the teaching tips about text and title also comes if you open help. So start using that.
And create awesome reports.
And create awesome reports as well. Same thing goes for queries. So this is your analyze inventory query that now has a nice teaching tip. By the way, the teaching tip is also after you close it, you can always just hover over the title and get it back. And then the same thing applies both for teaching tips and for help links, that for queries, they will now be available in the help pane. To kind of help you, we also worked on the report documentation. So there's a lot more going on here. So go and visit this over the next months, and we'll try to make that better. Also adding ways to create robust reports and robust layouts, something we're working on right now. So that should hopefully be in the docs over the next month. And specifically for Excel, go to the BC Excel samples site, where you have tips and tricks for how to design your data sets and layouts, sample layouts for existing reports that you can just try out, and also see the techniques that are being used. If you want to do presentations on this topic for events or conferences, there are sample PowerPoint decks here, FAQ, and list of videos if videos is the way you learn things. So, go-dos for reporting. The first most important thing is you need to start thinking about reporting in a different way. You need to stop just developing reports and instead understand what is the user trying to do with analytics. And based on that, start supporting whatever they want. If they want a report that is being printed, maybe develop a report. If they just want to consume in Excel, do an Excel layout. If they want to consume in client, write a query. If they want KPIs, do Power BI, which is also the next thing. You probably should start learn a little bit about Power BI. BI, business intelligence, and ERP are closely related. ERP is about business processes. Business intelligence is about reporting and getting insights into business processes. They go together, and Power BI is here to stay and is going to be the tool of choice, especially for KPIs on Business Central data.
Yeah, and then you should also invest in AL queries. They're not only for performance tuning. You can use them to generate really good analysis views. They are very powerful to actually join data together from multiple sources and allow the user the freedom to slice and dice as the user wants. So sometimes, instead of building a report, it might just mean that you should build a query instead and then use the analysis view instead of investing in reporting. And then also learn how to design for Excel layouts, and very often just having a good report data set and a good first Layout allows the customer to add what they need in the layout, because we find that there are a lot more people who can do Excel layouts than RDL layouts. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
So sometimes instead of build me a report, it might just mean build me a report data set, which is good for Excel reports.
And you know what, Jens? I think that once you do this, you would have customers that like wizards in Excel, and you might learn something from your customers here. I didn't know you could do that in Excel. It will blow your minds, and you will learn together with your customer. So at least two relevant sessions that you might want to jump to out of this. Apart from, of course, this series of 4, there are 2 sessions. What's new in Power BI and reporting for developers is something where we go deeper into this, thinking about the analytics requirements and then pick different tools. Also, we have some new cool things going on in Power BI Embed. So if you want this content, you definitely want to check this session out. And the second session is about this data analysis feature that is now generally available on lists and queries. This second session is much more about how you should think of this as a functional consultant for end users.
And then, of course, we refer to the general Business Central resources, Yammer, X, BC Ideas, and if you can, join some of the office hours. And with that, thank you very much for watching.
Thanks.